Hi, I'm Benjamin Kowalski with Freight 360, and in this week's video, we'll be interviewing Francesco, CEO and owner of Go2 Truckers. He's a coaching client of ours. I've been working with him for the past few years, and he talks about what it takes, what you need to know, and what he's gotten out of coaching, and how he went from a handful of employees to 2 offices and 30 employees in just under 2 years. So stay with us. Pleasure to see you, Francesco. It's been a while since we've chatted.
Yeah. How have you been, Ben?
Doing well. Really excited to,
Awesome. Good to know.
Glad you took some time out of your day for us to put some of this video together. I think it's going to be really good for our listeners and our audience to see somebody that, we've been directly working with for, the better part of probably a year and a half, 2 years now. Where you've come from, where you've reached, and some of the things that were actionable that, can help some other people get to where you've achieved, and, some real takeaways on what it's like to work with our organization, coach directly with us, and give some people some real life insights into what the process is like growing a brokerage.
Definitely. So let me give you a little introduction about myself. My name is Francesco Campione. I'm from Caracas, Venezuela. I'm a science material engineering, and I started my own brokerage back in 2016. I start literally from zero with no resource, with no major knowledge in the industry. So at that time was hard for me. I started definitely from zero. And back at that time, I would say that I didn't have the right guide and the right resources to get the results that now I have. So part of my growing on the industry is thanks to being with you, being coached by you. So I'm really glad that I met you through the process.
No, and I appreciate that. I mean, at the end of the day, you and I talked about this at the very beginning, right? Like, our role is to help guide you, to help you not bump your head along the way in the same places that we have. And I told you this too very early on. We don't work with everybody, but when you and I met, I said, regardless of whether or not you and I work together, I had little doubt in my mind that you weren't going to reach the places you've reached regardless. I really just think that, our relationship hopefully helped you get there faster, helped you get there without making as many mistakes as, to be honest, I've had to make and, Nate's made and the people around us. That's kind of the whole premise of all of it. So
definitely part of the process.
So tell me, I went back again too before this and looked at our numbers. Where was your gross profit when we met, when we started working together, which was?
I was said that we were doing around $10,000 per month in gross profit.
So about $10K a month, and I look back, that was in November of 2020. So it wouldn't have been in 2021, it would have been 2020. So, yeah. So from there, as of right now, if you don't mind sharing with the listeners, where are you guys at right now in gross profit?
We are around 70K per month in gross profit. So
70K.
We increased.
Increased, the percentages off the top. That's right. Fantastic.
7 times more.
7 times more. That's close to, just, public math in my head, 7 times 12, that's about what, $840,000 in profit per year, give or take, right? That's fantastic.
And the good thing is that I can see that we are keep improving, every month we hit historical highs. So I probably be, more than that next month. So I'm happy. I'm happy for that.
Hey, we're all happy.
Pretty happy.
If we're growing and we're improving and we're better than we were yesterday, that's all we can hope for, right?
Definitely. That's the goal.
So tell me a little bit about that. What were some of the, actionable things or the things that stick out in your mind that really, I don't want to say necessarily helped you get there, but what were the things that really got you the traction that helped you grow as fast as you actually did?
I will think that one of the major contribution was handling my time. At that time, I was in a reactive mode. I was trying to do multiple things at the same time, but I was totally overwhelmed. Being a freight broker, as you may know, is not easy. You have like a whole bunch of activities that you need to do in a daily basis. You need to do prospecting. You need to find your customer. You need to add value to your customer. At the same time, I need to recruit people. I'm from outside of the United States. I need to find people in my country that can speak English. I need to put them in an English class. I need to give them the tools that they need for them to be able to excel in the transportation. And that requires a lot of time. I would say that understanding what are the things that really matters, the things that are urgent, and prioritize my time in order to do the activities that are, I would say, generated of income for my company. That makes a difference.
Well, there are huge things, right? I remember when we first dug into that, right? And we worked on the habit of moving from reactionary to intentionality, right? To where, we all get caught in this trap. I mean, myself included from time to time, where your day starts managing you, right? You feel like you sit down at the beginning of your day, you strap in, and then it's just over, and you're just literally the loudest thing, and the biggest problem you have is the next thing you deal with all the way through the day, right? Where we shifted from that to a place where we objectively looked at where we were trying to go. We looked at, because this is a common thing with all humans, right? We misallocate our resources to the most urgent, not necessarily the most important, right? And that's exactly where we shifted to, where we were able to sit down and look at where are our goals? What are the things that we want to prioritize this week? And how do we make sure those things happen and we're not just doing, the next most urgent thing, right?
And it's worked, definitely worked. Being honest with you, I'm opening a second office right now. Last week I was doing all the reconfiguration, buying the desk and the new chairs, and I'm about to get 25 new employees for the company. So I'm glad for that.
I'm
fantastic. Glad for
fantastic.
having more time to drive my business forward.
And that's exactly it, right? We can't make more hours in the day. We can't make more days in the week, right? So if we want to get more done and the things that we want to get done to actually grow, if we want those things to happen, we've got to either delegate the things on our plate or move them to another place in the month or in our calendar so that we can get to the things that are going to get you to those places, right? To open the next office. Because it didn't happen overnight either, right? I'm sure you probably had weeks, if not months, sourcing the location, right? Getting together the people, making sure that you were planning and had the finances ready to be able to open that next office.
Definitely.
So digging back in a little bit too into the growth from where you were to where you are, right? Some of the things, some of the stuff that we helped or that we worked on in coaching that we had talked about, right? Like, tell me a little bit about reverse engineering the goals and how that helped you help hold your team accountable, but also drove a lot of the growth.
Okay, so basically what I learned is that sales is the process, okay? And in that process, you need to understand exactly what you need to do in order to achieve your goals. So basically, we reverse engineering how many phone calls we need to do, how many prospects we need to add to our CRM, how many marketing qualified leads do we have. We reverse engineering how many meetings do we need in order to fulfill our goals. And based on that, we establish the goals for the agents. And if we don't have enough agents, we put more agents in order to be able to hit the target. But basically, understanding what you need, then you will be able to do what is required. But if you are blind, then you cannot hit your target.
Hey, you know what I'd like to? If you have any of those off the top of your head, can you run through what some of the team's targets are, or how many meetings per week, or how many dials they're making per week per broker?
Sure. Basically, every 100 leads that we add, we get one customer.
1%.
Only one customer. And yeah.
But that's those are good, and those are in line, right?
The good thing is that if you understand that this is what is required in order to get one customer, now you understand that if you want two customers, then you need to add at least 200 companies. And being in sales is not that easy because you feel you face rejection. Sometimes people hang up on you. Sometimes you feel that you cannot accomplish the results you want. But if you understand your metrics and if you understand your numbers, it's basically following up the process, making sure you do the activities, and every day you will become better. So the percentage of conversion probably, or I hope that every time gets better. But for now, I understand that if I want a new customer, I need to at least add 100 customers to my list.
Yeah, to your funnel, right? And I think that's one of the things that is going to be helpful for a lot of people new in their career. They always want to know, well, how many leads do I need? How many phone calls do I need to make? And it's really hard when you first start out because you don't have the data to look backwards on. But you and I talked about that is, once you're at least a quarter or even 6 months into business, you should be looking back on your numbers. How many phone calls are you making to reach and get one customer? How many leads do you need in your prospecting funnel? And out of those, how many do you expect to close, right? And I think your numbers are spot on. You're going to close between, around 1% of 100 leads. And I think those are actually really good numbers because, I would say industry is probably like every 200 to 300, you might close one, maybe two customers. So I think you guys are doing fantastic in regards to closing rate.
And the other thing is that you require multiple point of contacts until they become your customer. So if you expect that you will get the customers on the first call, then you are not in the right game. On average, we contact our customer between 10 to 12 times until they become or they give us an opportunity. So I think that is matter of repetition, doing follow-up, contact them, understanding their needs, and providing a lot of value to them.
And when you run that math out, right, 100 leads you put in your pipeline, you expect to close one customer, but you've got to follow up with every one of those 100 on average between 8 and 12 times. You know your numbers, yours are between 10 and 12. So when you run those numbers out, right, like that's about 1,000 phone calls to close a customer, right? That's about 2 weeks worth of dialing if you're hitting 400 to 500 calls a week. And that means you should be able to close one customer every week if you've got that activity, right? And then
definitely correct.
Then you backed up into what your metrics are. I'm sure you probably know what your profitability per customer looks like and how many customers you expect to get per month.
Correct.
That's fantastic. Anything else you want to share in regards to stuff that we'd worked on or stuff that you feel would be helpful to others out there?
I would say that understanding the sales process is also a very good thing to know. Trying to understand what is the best way to present your service, what is the best way to answering objections, because as you mentioned it before, the objections are pretty much the same. So if you have a process in place that helps you out to navigate through the objections, then you will be in a better position. And other things that is important is understand where's your value, understand where you can really help your customers, because at the end of the day, everything is about your customer. It's not about you. It's about them. So understanding what are their needs, understanding where you can provide value is a good thing to have or to know. So, for example, in my case, I'm not from the U.S. My mother language is not English. It's Spanish. Okay. But for example, that could be an advantage for us as well. Most of our customers are located in places such as California, Florida, Texas. There is a huge Spanish community on that area, and we were able to build relationship with carriers, pretty good carriers on that area that are Spanish speakers, that maybe other brokers don't have access to them. And because of that, because all of our agents are bilingual, they speak English and Spanish, we have access to carriers that some other brokers don't have it. So we are focusing on that. We are focusing on service people or customers out of those places, because we know that we can deliver a great value on those areas.
No, that's fantastic. And that's just another great example of, right, where you could take something that looks like maybe a problem or an obstacle, you flip it on its head and it becomes an opportunity, right? You take what looks like a disadvantage on the outside and you turn it into your largest advantage, right? And you and I talked about that even in relation to prospecting, right? Because it is very valuable too when you get shippers that, you know, when their primary language was Spanish and they're speaking English, because you're able to speak to them in their native language as well.
That happens, and you can build a better connection, a more deep connection when that people feel some way related with you, and being someone from outside of the United States, sometimes is an advantage for me as well, because I'm able to connect with those local shippers in the U.S. that they want someone who is specialized in their industry, that knows everything about their industry, but speak their language as well.
Yep, absolutely. Well, hey, Francesco, I really appreciate you spending time. Any final thoughts for anybody out there? Any tips or things you want to share before we wrap up?
I would think that having a coach is something that, if you are starting in this industry, it's something that you must have. Because you will be able to shortcut some of the time that it takes to understand the industry, to not make a ton of mistakes like we make at the beginning. For example, we were not properly vetting our customers at the beginning. We feel that, you know, any company will be a good company, and it's not true. We deal with a whole bunch of companies at the beginning that they don't pay us on time, or they don't pay us at all, and that hit us at the beginning. So having someone that can guide you through the process and letting you know what are the issues, what are the problems, what are the obstacles that you will face in the industry is something that is worth.
Absolutely, and I appreciate you sharing that too.
Definitely.
Because I remember that was one of the first things when we started working together. I was like, I kind of wish I had met you earlier on and I could have helped you prevent that problem, because that was a big one. And it stuck around for, I think, a year, 2 years until you were able to resolve that, you know, bad debt from that shipper from the first year, right?
It took 2 years to solve that problem.
Yeah. And again, it's trying to avoid the mistakes just by, you know, having somebody lead you that's been there before you. It's not going to prevent all of them. There's one thing that's certain in this industry is problems and issues are coming up. We're just here to help, you know, avoid as many of them as possible, or at least point them out along the way so that you don't run into them.
Definitely.
Well, hey, appreciate your time. Pleasure as always, Francesco.
Me too. Have a great day, Ben.
You too.
Take care.